Hello and welcome back. I'm Joe and this is Workouts and Resources Server the Republic. Today I'm going to fix and review Just a Girl's map. So first of all, thank you Just a Girl for sending me this. It's a great, nice Republic that's just a little older, but it's well established and does all the things and something to be proud of. So that's great because it took me a long time to figure out what's even wrong here because to be fair, there isn't a lot. Let's look at a couple stats and let's look at a couple settings just to get started. We're playing on hard, we're playing on vehicles are locked and everything else is enabled. So full on realistic mode, wonderful. Great stuff. We have some normal stats over here. 73% happiness is not terrible. I mean, you're gonna get to 80 if you do everything perfect, but 73% honestly is not terrible. Government loyalty 33% is a little low considering we have a radio station sitting here, so we're gonna look at that. Alcohol addiction is a little high. And other than that, clothing, sports, culture, radio, TV, all that stuff, that looks fine. But we do have crime that has a pretty high impact. More than a quarter of your republic is affected by that, close to a third. So that's something we have to look at. Health-wise, everyone gets food, everyone gets sport. There is some pollution. Average lifespan is 80, could be a little higher, but overall, this is not bad at all. This number, it's the first thing I will say, just without looking at anything else, is too low. It is too low, and I know you asked me, you have sometimes issues running your power plant over here full, even with 3 trains, passenger trains bringing people in. The problem may be that every once in a while your train has to run empty because you don't have enough unemployed workers that are looking for jobs, so sometimes you just simply overload it, and that's going to be a problem. But we're going to get into the fix at the second half of this video. So for right now, let's just review what you have. We have a nice small map. This looks like a normal vanilla randomly generated map, and we are here. So we're just going to look at everything that's going on in our city, and we only have one city so far that's running. That's fine. And I will take this opportunity to tell you guys while you're watching, please send me some more maps to review or to fix or to do both. Doesn't matter. The size itself doesn't matter at all. I would like to be able to talk at least 5 to 10 minutes about the map when I show it. That's really the only requirement here. Otherwise, just imagine what it means to you when you watch other people's republics, not just Joe's republics, because there's always something that can be inspiring, that can be cool, that can be something that you haven't seen before. So just send me your stuff so I can show it to everyone else, because that's awesome, that's fun, that's how we play together. So yeah, let's look at the map. It's trying to get a little dark, and we're just gonna skip through that in just a second. But yeah, what do we have going on here? We have a little bit of construction. There's a new steel mill over here trying to exist. We have a little bypass via tunnel here, and I believe you want to build a new city somewhere in this area. I'm assuming this has something to do with that. Oh, there's a bauxite mine. Cool. But yes, I do know that you want a new city near the steel mill, but you don't want to expand before your first city is closer to perfect. Not perfect per se. What's this? Oh, solar power plant. Okay, cool. I don't think I ever built one. And if I have, it's been a very long time. Recycling is going on in here. Lovely. Next to the highway system. That should work just fine. Nothing to complain over there. We have a couple workers here, or a refinery with some workers. And that looks like it's working just fine. I'm sure we don't have enough oil to actually run this refinery at 100%, but we don't need to. As long as you're producing something, everything is cool. Nice little highway system over here. It's always nice to see that it's actually being used, and look at how many vehicles you actually have driving on it. So that's actually kind of awesome. So I do applaud you for that. What's going on over here? Sports hall. Oh, this is the new city that you want to build. Okay, it's not over where I thought it was. It's closer to the border than it was before, but yeah, this works. And look at the rail system that you already have. You have one city, and I don't even want to know how many trains, but a lot of trains are going on with some pipes. So that is pretty sweet. This, I'm assuming, was your, well, you started wherever you wanted, right in between 2 large customs houses, which probably made this, or enabled this, and also enabled building a city nice and close. And I like that you have the highway system actually built into this, and this is a beautiful roundabout. Not like something I would build, just something like someone that actually pays attention to this would build. So that's awesome. What is this? Demolition office. Yes, I don't see a lot of free offices, which is nice. A couple demo offices over here that we may be able to remove, but there's nothing wrong with having those right now. We are in a new age of realistic mode and research, so I do see that you have the medical university sitting here, a small headquarters sitting there, and then a technical university sitting right here, so everything is there. You can research all the things. That is good, but I'm looking at the numbers here. I'm a little worried that you haven't reduced the number of workers, and with that, the number of students you have in there, because let's look at this. Uneducated workers, nobody. Cool. Workers with higher education, almost everyone. You don't need everyone to have higher education. It's really just, at that point, pulling workforce out of your republic to go to school. And that is fine, but don't forget that they require a little extra electronics, which is a little more expensive. And just overall, they don't work for you. They don't make money. They just make knowledge. And that is not, you don't need that. Like 30 to 50%, somewhere in there, of higher educated people is usually enough. You need them in specific places, like, for example, police and teachers and courts. And that's pretty much it. And just doctors. And then you're done. Like, that's where you need the educated people. Otherwise, you can get away with much less than that. So just keep that in mind when you build these universities. The way they are set up right now is just fine. This one's all set up and everyone's happy. Got nothing to complain about that, obviously. We have a nice little forklift set up over here. I don't see that used very often because it takes up a lot of space, but I like what you did here, and everything seems to be just fine. Obviously, you have a full warehouse there and then a full meat storage right here. So this is working beautifully, and I only see one forklift actually moving around. So this is telling me that this setup, what forklifts are actually suited for, which is awesome because I don't think I've ever seen this before. I heard a lot of people talk about it, but that is about it. Another shopping center up here. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. Yeah, you have another warehouse sitting there, and you don't have a meat truck sitting here. That's a little dangerous, but it's probably going to work out just fine. What else do we have going on? Just the city in general. I saw a building earlier when I was looking at this that had no demands. Visit church. Yeah, most of these buildings are perfectly happy. They're just perfectly happy. I'm seeing a couple things that we're going to address in just a second. But a lot of them are very happy, and then some of them are not happy, but that's part of the fix. So seeing something where you just have a problem, especially, and I think it was this one, you have 160 people here, only one of them is complaining. That's awesome. That's great to see. So yeah, the city overall works fine, but I see some issues that I think we can address and make things a little better, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. What do we have going on over here? Just a lot of mixed waste sitting around, maybe creating pollution. Rail that is connected to that. What is happening here? Oh, that must have been a pipe. Yeah, I guess it's just some plumbing that was created at some point. Cool. But yeah, we have a little bit of industry sitting out here. Something that I always like to see if our crops are really, really low. I'm assuming you're going to pick up some crops from here for your distribution office. Okay, and you're going to bring it to this cargo train station. Okay, it is right next door. Where is your distribution office, buddy? Let me see what you're doing. You are pretty far away. Okay, I understand the temptation here, but I believe in a distance like this, just putting a truck here will be a lot more efficient and effective than what we're seeing right now, especially if your distribution office is trying to move just one wagon per trip. That may be a little optimistic, but I get why it's going on like this. So yeah, that's cool. There's your warehouse, and you're pushing it straight into the food factory each time. Yeah, one or two or a handful of trucks may do this a little better and takes away a little bit of the train traffic. Now, would you want to take away train traffic? I don't think so. Train traffic is awesome, but it is because the distance is so short compared to where the distribution office sits, that it's probably a little more efficient to just use a truck, but this is totally fine. You could even use this guy, the medium distribution office, which I'm assuming you're using to help your distribution of or your collection of the crops. You could even use that to bring stuff around, but I I think the way it's set up is also fine. So there's nothing wrong with that. Cool. Let's go. This is brave. Sewage treatment plant, small. It's great for role-playing. I like it. I like having these. I like actually using it. Do you have it connected straight up? Yes. Straight up connected in there, and this seems to be working just fine. So all of that is pretty cool. We have a little storage over here. That storage gets coal from the coal processing plant, and then we have our normal setup over here. And what is your percentage? 65%. I would guess you can probably add another processing plant at some point or move your coal around, but this, as long as this is keeping everything happy resource-wise, there's no reason to change anything. So this is nice. Okay, we talked about all the niceties, I think, and we can see that you have plans and roundabouts to go in other places. That's awesome. This farm overall also looks really great. So yeah, let's jump into a couple things that we can actually address here. So the first thing I already said, we have a shortage of workers and we have overeducated our population. How do we reduce that? How do we do something about that? Actually, I'm happy you asked, because one of the questions was also, how do I increase my loyalty? And these are all kind of related, and let's get into them if we can here. The first thing, I clicked on a couple buildings earlier, and a lot of them have dedications of what they're supposed to do. That can get dangerous. Why? Because the game is smart enough to find jobs that are available. In the beginning, you may have situations where you want only your higher educated people to go to certain places, because you may only have 70 educated people and they have to go to the university to train more educated people or to educate. So you would assign them to that specific building. You may also have a shortage of workers and not enough workers to do what you need them to do, and then you assign specific buildings to buildings that are currently short in workers that you need more of. For example, a shopping center. You want to make sure that you have enough workers going here to do their thing. Outside of that, there are individual or one-off situations where you definitely want to assign where people work, but overall, you probably don't want to assign them in general. And I'll show you a different way to do this, but the first thing we're going to do is click on every single one of these buildings and delete all of these assignments. And I'll show you the difference of that then. All right, I got all of them. Nope, I got all of them. The first one I click on is not gotten. But I think I got most or all of them now, which is important. So you went really all in on assigning all of them, which is, honestly, if you want to do this, you have to go all in and actually assign every single individual one, otherwise it's not going to work. But when you do that, you do run into deficits. And here's something that we can do now to actually address this, and now I understand why universities didn't have dedicated numbers of workers there. Okay. We do not want everyone to work in all these places. So one of the things that we can do is to do the direct assignment just like you had it. But if you have the workforce, if you don't need to worry about educated people and higher educated people, you don't have to make these separations, and you can find a much easier way to make that distinction. And we can always still assign one or two buildings, just especially with higher buildings, if you need someone to definitely show up on the rail station. But I don't think we need that. Let's go through your city and figure out what our workers are that we need. Do we need 45 workers here? Don't forget, that is times 3 shifts, so we need almost 150 workers, 135, for this building. Do we need that? It looks like we have less shoppers than that. So how about we just dedicate 25 to this? Set that number in half. Now we need 75 workers to keep this work shift running. You do have relatively high happiness, so this should be fine to run here. Let's do the same thing over here. Do we need 27 workplaces for this when we only have about 39 or 45 workers running around here? And then we got to triple check. Unable to visit church, and unable to visit sport, no culture, and pub tavern. Nobody is complaining about kindergarten spaces that is in range of this building. So I would think that for us, there's one. For us, we can say, let's go about the number that is right here. Let's give it 8 workers that will take care of the current level, but it doesn't require 20 more people per shift and then 60 more people per day to run this thing. So we reduce the number of workers that we are using in the city. And we're doing this so that people free up more, because the algorithm of the game is looking first in walking distance and then a station that has something of interest afterwards, either walking distance from the station or a vehicle can take you to another station that has something of interest there. If you use a transfer station, it gets a little more complicated than that. I made a video on that. But yeah, we want to make sure that we only use the workers that we actually want, and then the rest will free up to go to all the places that we don't care how many workers are there as long as they're full. So let's look at a couple other ones here. A radio station is one where we probably want a lot. You have government loyalty set here. That is great. Do we know what government loyalty is in all of those buildings? Yes, we do. It's about 35%. Perfect. That's what we want to see. So you do have a secret police that's already doing what you wanted to do. That is great. Your loyalty, however, on average is 33%. Okay. If this building is set to 30%, you probably get most of them. So we're going to say that this is totally fine, but we want more workers. Now, if we turn down all the number of workers everywhere in all the other buildings and free up more workers for random buildings like this one, then this building will just fill up with workers without us having to dedicate any of the buildings directly to do what we want it to do. So we can leave this one alone exactly as is. Actually, your staff is set to just 50. I would like to max this out because we do want to get up loyalty. And this number will be bigger if you have more people that are loyal working here at the same time. It's just a multiplier for that number. So that's going to be helpful. Over here, this looks a little worrisome because we don't have drinking water and no missing staff or something else. Let's check first. There is one, looks like planned over here, just not built yet. Let's see what we have in construction groups. We have some. I would just like to assign this to someone. I don't know where they are. I'm just going to do this and then see. We don't have a water pipe running here at this point. Do we have other water pipes that are connected to something? This is sewage. Okay. Let's see if I can find one that's useful here. You are a water substation and you go that way. So if we turn on our water pipe overview, do we have any available? The answer is not really. Okay, and it looks like you are... No, there's a tower here. Where is that tower running to? You're not using switches in your towers. Okay, we're just going to build this and then connect it via technical service, but in your game you can go ahead and actually find a real water connection to this thing, because yeah, the palace without water is not actually going to do anything, so that won't help. For the time being, because we don't have anything going on, we're also going to turn that off, because you also have other attractions already available, so this should be fine. This one, okay, it's actually working kind of. It just needs more workers to be able to service all your people. But I would caution, and I'm going to try to keep an eye on this, if this is consistently full and can't serve everyone, just turn it off, because I think most of your buildings have something where they can get food in range. Most buildings, besides this one, people are not very happy. They get saturated because they can't get food, but they don't get enough food because they wait in line. So if the bistro could figure out how to actually serve them, that is good. I would say maybe in this situation, just turn this building off and people start moving into this. We will see if this one can actually make it. What do we have going on over here? I would think about the same thing, and yeah, happiness will drag your loyalty down. As you can see here, with 42% loyalty, happiness and 22% loyalty, they are correlated. It's not a linear correlation, but there's definitely correlations there, so keep an eye on that. Let's look over here. We are full, we are children in care, and we don't have an appropriate upbringing for a few of the children. What are our numbers? Bad, very bad. Loyalty is down. If you cannot run the orphanage with actual having a positive impact on your loyalty, then this is going to hurt you in general. You're reducing criminality a little bit, but overall, the loyalty is just not where we need it to be. Can we creep it up there? I don't think we can, because the buildings that are currently connected to this orphanage are having a generic low loyalty. So 22% there, 29% here is lower than what you want. And if you don't have loyal tutors, you're not going to get extra loyalty out of it. So what I would do in this case, turn this thing off entirely and just let this orphanage go away, and then maybe move the orphanage somewhere else later when you have higher loyalty and higher happiness people. That effectively frees up these two buildings, which means I would like to replace or to move them somewhere else. And it looks like we're currently completely full in most buildings, which is good sometimes, but if we don't have a space for them, that could be bad. So yeah, I'm just trying to move them away from this whole place, this whole plaza, because down the road, we do need the workers. We definitely need the workers to do what we need to do. So yes, let's just move a couple more, see how much space we have. And when we do that, we should also be able to turn off the bistro that is currently serving them. At least the bistro is not going to be overflowing anymore. Okay, we are full now. So the other thing that we have to do is just add more space for more employees, because I think another thing that I saw was buildings without with free flats. I guess there's 26 there, and that's it. We're pretty much full. So yeah, this is not going to go over easy. But there you go. We have a full building here that we just have to relocate somewhere else, and then we can use those workers as well. And then you have to understand that the numbers up here are probably in relationship also to these buildings. So most of our unemployed workers come from down there. Okay. So with that one taken care of, we have this large school which should get their workers from there, but we have no uneducated people. None. Which makes me almost wonder, yes, a lot of the kids in here are doing just fine, and even some of them have relatively high education. What I would do is start reducing this number to something smaller, and then use government loyalty. We're going to put it up to 30% because I think most people around here have that? 35, 30? Yeah, some of them have 30%, and that's good enough. But setting this to 30% gives you random bonus loyalties every day to your citizens. So it's as high as 20%, I think I've seen. So using the secret police to know your loyalty and then increasing that for the places that you have control over is a good thing that you should definitely use. And if 30% is a little too high, just set it to a more appropriate number. But I'm going off the average here, and the average makes me think 30 is attainable. So that's fine. Over here in our kindergarten, this one looks relatively fully utilized, so we're not going to mess with those numbers at all. Here's a helicopter place. Do we really want tourists here? No. Do we want students here? I would say probably not, but we're not full. The heli space is not completely full, so we can probably leave that on. I am a little worried that sometimes the number of workers will maybe mess with things that we need, but it's probably okay with how it's set up right now, so we're just going to leave that. Here's another building, 3 of 5. Yep, this one we want because we're already using that attraction. Cool. Police. Oh, favorite topic. favorite topic. You have too many cases. You could go through, hey, limitation, 99% investigation, 44%. That's not going to happen, but this case is probably going to happen. If I am good, I will try to keep all the ones above 85% in the list. I'm probably going to hit a couple where that wasn't the case, but I think the rest of these are all 0. The game is not smart enough to run this as a queue. It will only work on all cases all at the same time, and that's what it's going to do, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, we're reducing how much they have to work on, and then I will just tell you, remove some cars. You have too many cars here, because now whenever there is a crime, one of these cars is going to get there really fast and fill up your queue, and yeah, that's not good for you. So we're actually going to reduce this to just 2, because I don't think your crime overall in the city was very high, like the percentages. I saw some 2 and 1%ers. Which is not a bad thing overall. And you keep that relatively low with low unemployment as well, so you should be pretty okay with that. But yes, your crime was an issue, and that does affect your loyalty as well as happiness. So getting that under control reduces your impact on happiness a lot. So having this one should help. This is our courthouse. Yes, you have sentences set up relatively reasonable, so I'm actually just going to leave them there. But as you can see, we don't have any crime cases coming in to be worked on because the police station was overloaded and it couldn't actually do something. It's very possible that we want to build another police station in here, ideally probably a big one. At 8,000 people, your crime is not super high yet, so just keep an eye on this to see if we're going to get it done. Here's another one. How many treated patients do we have? A third of what we see here, and we allow 22 people. So I would almost say make this 8 workers. That will take care of all the people that you have, because if your citizens are not generally sick, and this may be different in the winter, I don't know if you have winter heating problems, but we're in July right now. If people aren't sick, let them do their thing, and don't use that many doctors for things like this. We do need to do this for every single thing. Increased birth rate, we don't need that right now because we don't have extra rooms available for them. But staffing, we are serving all of our students just fine with 17 people, so how about just allow only 20 people to work here and they will serve whatever you need. And then use the same trick, get your loyalty up and get the bonus loyalty from your teachers, and then you can do the same thing for your students. You can keep this a little lower so you can get your student loyalty up, but use these buttons because they do give you extra loyalty and boosts for every single day. That loyalty, that the monuments and the radio station can get to you. This building, it's a lovely building, excellent building. I like this building a lot, but it is completely useless in cases where we don't actually care about it. Right now, I don't care about this one, so I will turn this off until everything else is working. And you can just turn it back on when you need some things. Secret Police, max of 18, sounds great. This one, I don't actually know what the impact is. Maybe they're a little faster at doing something, so may as well use it, but I don't think there's a huge impact for this government loyalty slider on that. Let's see, do we have a couple other buildings that we need? Most of the culture buildings you probably want to keep full. This one looks like it's a little underutilized, so how about we just reduce a couple workers there. Another school looks great, but we don't need all of them, so 20 is probably more than sufficient. Set your loyalty again, that's too much. There we go, 31%. Beautiful. Same thing here. We have more than enough educated people, don't need that one. If you want to do research, just turn that number up. Same thing here, we don't need any more to do anything fancy. So doing all of this, what is that supposed to do? What do I expect it to do? I expect to see the number of educated people to stay about the same, shrink a little bit because we don't need that many. I expect the number of unemployed workers to go up a little, and I expect our loyalty overall to increase. Loyalty will not increase within a day. It may take a year to get you to a place where that's good. Another orphanage. Okay, let's look at the numbers. Bad for loyalty, bad for everything. It is not... It doesn't have the right people working here yet, and it's overloaded. Both of those things tell me we're not ready for this yet, and this is this a vanilla one or is this a modded one? I really don't know. I want to find out. Now, orphanage looks like a vanilla one. We're just going to turn the orphanages off for right now until we have everything else under control, and hopefully that will help. Here looks like we're a little overstaffed, so turn that to something that's useful. And we will see if that hurts our culture or anything else. Here, kindergarten, we don't need that many. Give me 12. So we're just reducing the number of workers that we potentially need, which is hopefully enough for everything else that we're going to do next. Fire stations one I would never reduce, but you have 4 fire trucks here. If you can replace these with some bigger fire trucks that you only have 1 or 2 running around. We already talked to that one. This is the big shopping center. I would be very careful reducing the number of workers here, especially once this one is no longer fully needed. We have a couple more buildings, apparently. We have a zoo. Okay, attraction. Looks like this is not a high value return, as in for 11 people you can only have 28 visitors, but that's fine. We have it. We're going to use it. Carousel, sure. It's okay. Looks like this is one of the buildings I may turn off because if we always have visitors in front, there's a high chance that we don't get the results that we need. Kindergarten, we already looked at you earlier, and then here's your construction office. This is overflow. This is stuff when you know you have construction going on, set this to max. If you don't know that you have construction going on, turn it off. What do we have going on right now? A lot of no, this distribution office. We have no current construction going on, so what we can do is just save this workforce to say nobody work here for right now. They'll be fine. Okay, let's let this run. I'm expecting this number to go up a lot, hopefully. And I'm expecting everything else to kind of stay the same. And I'm also expecting this number to stay reasonably sized. Doesn't have to be super big, doesn't have to be super small. But I expect those numbers to look reasonable. Oh, no drinking water. I don't know why I didn't see that before, but you are connected to this guy. Okay. And this guy doesn't get water because what? We have a little flow. Let's see. F3 gets me underground. We are here. Let's follow this pipe. You're going this way. There's a switch right here, and that switch is probably going to connect to this thing out here, which is there. Okay, and you are not working because we don't have workers here. Perfect. Ooh, oh, this is dangerous. Where do you get your workers from? You want to get your workers from somewhere over here. Got it. I don't currently see a bus. I'm assuming that is the bus that brings workers out here. You only have 22 workers to bring to the water treatment plant. Okay, you have 2 buses set up for that. You have a bus end station. Okay, I think this is a good indicator of saying you need an extra bus because there is time in between where you don't have water. So let's see if we can find a quick depot. Do we have one, or do I have to build one really quick? If I don't see one right away, I will build one, but I want to see if I can do this the right way. Hey, road depot. That was easy enough to find. Let's get another bus. Sure, this one, it's just the one that I like to use. And then we're going to go back to this bus over here and just get another one en route. Another thing that you can do is use water towers more, because it looks like that water tower over here is used, but then you have this pipe over here that directly feeds into your radio station. So if you have short outages like what we're experiencing right now, you just don't get any water in, and you don't want to do that. Yes, this takes too long, and we only have 1, 3, 4. We need this to at least run at max capacity, whatever that means. You're producing essentially 1 large water pipe worth of water, so 225 cubic meters a day. And yeah, the import water is going down, so that makes sense. Yeah, I think just increasing the number of buses once that one actually shows up should help us with everything. You set this to 30, 30, 30. If you're just doing it evenly, don't even worry about it. Let the game decide where it wants to go, because there are only 3 things that it will walk to in this area. And those 3, well, besides the gravel, if you don't want it to go to gravel, you could reduce gravel. We're currently not actually doing anything on the gravel side, so how about you just set this to 2, and then once we use gravel again, you can increase the number of gravel things that we need to worry about, but that should be fine. Let's get this bus stop again, because the bus that's going to show up here should be almost there. There it is. Took a lot longer than I expected, but there you go. We're just going to assign this, and then that one can figure out when it wants to go where, and that should help with the water production over here. Cool. So we should have water here now, and yeah, we have a lot more workers than we did before, and let's see. What's the loyalty? It's a little higher. Not a lot higher, but I think it's a little higher, and I may not remember what the number was earlier, but it's a little, it's here. Cool. And all the other numbers aren't negative. And over time, this should have a rather large positive impact on everything that you do. So keep that in mind. Looking at this one, because just recently had a long conversation that monuments don't actually stack, but they do stack the percentages. So if you have 2 of these sitting, then your increase of loyalty can be about 10%. It will only go up to 30 to 40%, depending what difficulty you play, but having more monuments in the city is beneficial, especially for certain situations like in front of a prison, where you're going to definitely have a loyalty decrease. Having a monument in front of it is supposedly helping replenish that. So here we are. All of that stuff is set up. I wouldn't be surprised if all of your vehicles are actually going to this rail station all the time to get their workers, which causes probably issues, because as you can see, this guy just got here. Now you get 16 and you want to go somewhere. This one took 125 workers. Okay, let's go check out what we actually have going on here by following this guy to its next destination. And it's night, but that is fine. So you're going out here, there's a station, and you're dropping off all of them. I actually didn't expect that because earlier I saw one that didn't drop off every single one of them. But okay, you dropped off every single worker that you had here because you also have the food and the fabric and all this stuff sitting over here. So you need to decide what is most important. And this could be a good place for actually using the percentages. Because what do you want? How much power do you have to produce every single day? I think the answer is 16 is what you're doing right now, which is probably related to also exports, which is good. But if you want to just produce that much, you probably don't need this many people, but it's fine. But what I was going to was you could assign your workers to your places and increase the percentages for the places that you actually want to fill up all the time, and then keep the percentages relatively low for all the places that you don't care about. Let's see, did you keep any workers on board? Nope. How about the next one? How many are you bringing? 113. Okay. And what is this one? Look, our number of unemployed workers went up by 6%. That is, well, 4 times. 4x, which I would argue is a pretty good return. So yeah, this one should be fine. And having more unemployed workers actually helps you make sure that your workplaces are full. And as long as this one is full, that's good too. I am wondering a little bit, how many lines do we have going here? Well, how many vehicles? We have 8 vehicles going here. They're all trains. That shouldn't be that bad. 8 trains shouldn't be terrible. The only thing that you could do is make sure that trains that you have running on here have appropriately sized capacities for the things that you actually want to do. Then you have a bus station over here, and you have some workers sitting there as well, not doing too much. But I would think that this bus station is actually the one that supplies workers to this place. So you want to make sure that you have them in both locations. But honestly, this looks fine right now. Okay, where's our loyalty right now? Still 33%. Because this is not much higher, but we're now over 1% at least. This will increase gradually. This will not increase from today to tomorrow. This will just be a gradual increase, as every worker that works here will just get a little more every single day. That's what you want. Need to check something here, but as long as we don't get new kids, I think the orphanages are okay. This all looks fine. Look at this. We have 21 workers and only 22 guests could make it there. That's more than 1 to that's more than a 1-to-1 ratio, which is pretty annoying, right? But that's okay. Yeah, check all your numbers here. Make sure that you have enough stuff coming through. We don't care about a couple students waiting up front because we don't need more educated workers. Again, it's 50% is probably the highest you need to go, so you can leave it at this setup for quite some time before you have to worry about anything. I don't know if we need that many workers here. Looks like we are going through about 30% of our, 30% production rate, so we can reduce that. And that should be fine. This should help the city get to the numbers that you want to get to in terms of happiness and everything else. Let's check our crime. Only 2 crimes are here. That's good. 4 crimes are here. As long as they solve all of them, we don't care. But building is what about power supply? Okay. I'm assuming this is related to nobody being here. All right. Nobody's being here because why? There's a train that just dropped off a bunch of people, but it looks like that train was empty. Okay, I think we got to the point where we now know that the station that we have over here, where all of your power trains are going in, has a frequency that is too high. So the 8 trains that come, that stop here, sometimes stop at the same time. When they stop at the same time, there's a high chance that a high-capacity train will take all of your workers, and the low-capacity train can't take anyone. Or the other way around. Like, if you have an empty train running around, that's not good. How many do you have? You are about half full. Okay, that's not the end of the world. You are about full. You are nothing, and you are pretty full. But yes, we just had one. I'm assuming it's this one because I don't see anyone currently walking anywhere. No, there are a couple people walking here. There are a couple people walking here. So it must have been the train just before then. How can we solve that? we have to find more workers. That is the main thing. And you have to find workers that specifically go to your power plant. How do you do that? Just add another way of transport. In this case, you already have a highway system that's connected to your power plant. Just add 2 or 3 buses. They can be small buses. They just have to be able to fill up the power plant and nothing else, and make them do some extra work in between. Let's get a bus. Let's get a capacity that is appropriate for this one and is relatively fast. Honestly, the 11 is probably a friend here. Let's get 2 of those organized, and we're just going to set up a very simple route from any of the bus stops to here. And that should help with your power plant problems. Another thing that I thought, but I don't think I have seen it happen yet, is, let's see, this one with 188 people, how many actually get off the train. Because if everyone always gets off the train, which is what it looks like, looks to be happening, you could also set it up so that after the end station they stop here again. But I don't think you need that because this is working fine. So our buses have arrived. Sorry for nighttime, but let's find a bus station that we actually want to use for this. I'm not sure that you have another one besides this, so we're just going to go from there to here, directly to the power plant, and then we're going to go here for unloading, get you started, go to the next bus, and this is just a thing that's supposed to run in between. It will be good if you time it so that your worker deliveries like stagger well, that you can always at least unload a few people, that you never run empty even with just the buses. That will be the better guarantee. And I think I will just add 2 more of those small buses and call it good, because they will definitely be enough to make this work. 2 more of those, just we'll sign them once we get there. Then the power station should have no more issues, and that should help everything really overall. How's it going over here? Just fine. I think we're in a place where we can increase propaganda a little bit, because our happiness will increase by having more loyalty, more loyal people. If you want, you can keep that up a little, but you really don't have to. Okay, that all sounds good. I think this house will just not be happy and not be a thing that we care about, but that's okay. All right. This looks fine. We're getting crime done and over with, which is excellent. The other 2 buses haven't arrived yet, which is annoying, but that's fine. Where's this one? You're currently running back to back, which is fine. They will just go out and do whatever they need to do. But this should help the city overall for right now. Happiness has decreased a little bit compared to when I started. Sorry about that, but it's just going to be probably moving around. And I think crime has gone from almost 1,500 people to 130 people, and now crime has gone back to 1,000 people. So crime is still an issue, but I think we're taking care of things more than we did before, so that should hopefully help. How's it going over here? Yes, we have more cases coming through here now, so we have to make sure that we actually solve or get through all of those cases, and that may require you to build a larger courthouse at some point. Cool. That is all done. I think the rest is just industries that I'm not really seeing any issues with. You could place monuments near all of these industries, and I don't think I see one. And that should help your loyalty a little bit as well, but it's just going to take time. We're at 34% now. I think if you let this run for an hour, we may get to 50%. So that's just for perspective. All right. Last thing, because I ran this before and found an issue. Your signals are not ideal. This has happened a couple times and it's actually blocked some trains. Let's see if we can get into that situation. No, not this time. Okay. Yeah. This is the crossover that you have here makes all of this, the way you have the signals placed, one block. How do I know that? Besides, well, it's the same color. You don't want the same color. This is just one junction, so this whole block is just one thing. May as well treat it as that. Even though there are two connections. So if we want that, fine. If we don't want that, you actually have some room back here. You could make this a full turnaround stop that trains could just turn around and get to this platform just later. But the minimum thing that you should do is get your signals right. You need a block signal to relieve, or this is a relief signal after you come from a junction in both directions, so that trains don't use the two chain signals to think that something is wrong or right. So it's always a block signal or a release signal after a junction and everything else before then. This whole thing, it's not a block. It's just one block of one train, and you don't actually want a train in there, so let's just remove that. Because this is just one junction, and they have to figure out how they're going to go there. It looks like this is a fake signal, because they're only supposed to leave from here, but they can't because this is not long enough. If you do want to use the end of this thing, place a waypoint and have a train actually go all the way out here, and then they can turn around. But I think you're using a lot of distribution offices, so they're not smart enough to do that. The only thing that you could do is actually make a turnaround here, and then they can take the other trains, and then you can take the crossovers out here, and maybe that's going to be a little more helpful. But for right now, this is technically working. This was the only problem I found in rail. But if you understand what I was trying to say about the signal, chain in like you have, but then you have to have a relief signal out. They may block this road for a little bit, which then means you either have to elevate the road, or you have to take the signals out so nobody can actually park on here. Neither of those are great situations just because of how this is laid out. But you should be okay. We still have construction over here, so I don't think that is something I'm worried about. You should stay away from short blocks like this because they can also cause trouble, so I'm actually just going to take these out. Yes, it's a very large junction, but it is a very large junction, and you don't want to have the trains get stuck here. And that should be fine. Anything else that I can see? Here's another one. Just avoid it. You have a lot of rail that's kind of crossing in several places and has a lot of junctions everywhere, which create really long junctions for you. You probably don't want that. Try, I don't want to say plan better, because that sounds really rude, but try to stick with one main line, and when you have a junction, use that junction for multiple things that could be done at the same time. You will always need turnarounds, but I found that making a dedicated turnaround spot somewhere that's not in the way, that's part of another junction, is usually more helpful than making a shortcut like this to get you to the connection that you want, especially if you're using a rail distribution office. But I get it. This is how things happen. And honestly, I think you're doing pretty well here, so no judgment at all. Happiness is going the right direction. Government loyalty is going up. Now we just have to wait and make sure that all our crimes are solved. That one is solved. That's good. This one is getting a little full because not all our crimes are getting solved. So two options. We can either play with these numbers and you can babysit them, or you build another courthouse somewhere. What else do we have to build? We absolutely have to build another residential building somewhere in this area because we are running out of space. And that's really all that's all I think we need to do. I don't think there's anything else really ground shattering that we have to worry about, because this should take care of everything that you had. Another thing that I will throw out here, let's keep both these windows open. I want to see how often we get to 0, because if both of them get to 0 all the time, great. If one of them rarely gets to 0 and the other one does get to 0, I would consider using like the transfer option or the send workers to the other station option, but looks like we're okay. I think we're okay. I think this is going to work just fine because we do have enough workers actually making it out to those spots. So we can just leave that alone. I think we're ready for a couple more buses, so we're going to get those on the trip. We're going to waste a little bit of fuel with that, but it's well worth it considering that power is something that you can't really go without. So that all looks good. I think that's all I have. Overall, this Republic, just looking at it, it took me a long time to find a couple things that were wrong with it. But it's just the direct assignments. At some point, you just don't need to do them anymore. Make sure that you use loyalty. Make sure that you staff the right buildings when you have them. Power outage. Power outage. Okay, let's go check it out. Are we out of power? We have 7 workers here. That we should not be out of power. That should not be our issue. And we just added 2 more buses, so I think we're okay. Yeah, make sure that you staff all the buildings correctly. Make sure that you understand how many educated workers you currently have and that you don't need all of them. And then, yeah, just keep an eye on all the needs that your people have. Sewage tank is overflowing. That's not good because that makes them angry. Looking at F3, what is our problem? Our problem... Oh, I think I messed that up by making this not full. So if we set you to full, we may not have the sewage tank problem the next time someone shows up. Personally, I never built these, but if you want to build them, sure, why not? Looks like this pipe is not actually connected, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see. It may be connected. I don't know. Yep. That's what I have. We want this one to go down. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. I will... Looking forward to your submission for another fix or something else that we can work on. And we go from there. Sewage tank. I really... Now I have to look. Now I have to make sure that our sewage tank is not just a problem. We have some flow. Okay, 1624, 1630. They're not full, but we have this one that has a lot of sewage actually coming through. Okay. But I think it's slowly... Yeah, it's catching up. So yeah, we do need the full workforce here. That was just my problem, that I didn't think that we needed that. So yeah, that's fine. Nothing needed there. 74%. Hey, at least it's higher than when I started, so that makes me think I did something useful here. Stop babbling. I think we're done. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'm happy to see that this is actually done. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.